Hey everyone, Timola here from forexreviews.info and welcome to this week's edition of the weekly Forex Algorithm Review. I hope you're all well and that you had a great trading week last week. Okay, well in a few moments what I'll be doing is highlighting a number of important trading areas in the market. However, before I get into this week's review, I first off would like to mention thanks everyone who got access to the Zone Trader training series last week, and thanks everyone for the feedback so far on that training. If you haven't checked out the Zone Trader training series yet, you can find out all about this new training series by clicking on the link below this video. Okay, with that being said, let's get into this week's edition of the review and see what's happening on the charts. Okay, the first pair to highlight is USD, and I'm on the 4-hour chart. USD late last week tested the 113.38 low area. And if I zoom out, you can see it's that low area looking left back here, where the bulls took control and gave a short-term move to the upside. What I'm expecting on this market this week is that potentially this market's price may continue all the way up to this previous low area, or all the way up to the 115.50 zone area. So we're going to highlight the 115.50 zone area as a potential long-term target area to the upside for all those people holding a buy trade on this market from the recent test of the 113.38 zone area. For all those people that are not in a buy trade on this market already, the 113.38 zone area is a great area on this market to consider a potential bullish opportunity on this market, and look for a potential move all the way up to at least this previous low, or all the way up to the 115.50 zone area to the upside. Okay, well that's it for that market. Okay, next pellet to cover is US dollar Swiss, and I'm on the daily chart. Late last week in price action, US dollar Swiss tested the $1.24 high area, which is this previous high area looking left. And you can see in that recent price action wick tested this important area. What I'd like to highlight on this market this week is that this is a great area on this market to consider a potential bearish opportunity in this area on a pullback into this area, and look for a potential move to the downside. Potentially move all the way down to this previous high, or all the way down to this low, or all the way down to the 98.30 zone area to the downside. So overall on this market, holding that on a pullback and test within the $1.24 high area, that this is a great area on this market to consider a potential bearish opportunity in this area, and look for a potential move to the downside from this important zone. Okay, well that's it for that market. Okay, next pellet to highlight is GBUSD, and I'm on the daily chart. Last week in price action, GBUSD broke below and closed below, unfortunately, the 130.50 zone area. And after that break below, price continued to the downside all the way down to test the 128.30 zone area, which is a potential bullish evidence area on this market. And if I zoom out, you can see it acted as strong support, looking left back here, and back here, and back here in the past. This is an area on this market, and bearing in mind that it is a counter trend zone area on this market, people. In fact, in this week's review, I'm highlighting a lot of counter trend zone areas, so just be aware of that. This is an area on this market, a great area on this market to consider a potential bullish opportunity in this area, and look for a potential move to the upside. Potentially a move all the way up to this previous low looking left, or all the way up to the 130.50 zone area to the upside. So overall on GBUSD, holding the 128.30 zone area is a great area on this market to consider a potential bullish opportunity in this area, and look for a potential move to the upside from this important zone. Potentially move all the way up to this previous low, or potentially move all the way up to the 130.50 zone area. Now I would also like to mention the 130.50 zone area as also another area on this market in this week's review. And in the case of the 130.50 zone area, this is an area to the upside where I'm just looking for bearish events in this area. If price action tests this area this week or in the near future, And if I see a right bearish evidence in this area, then potentially looking for a move all the way down to this previous low, or all the way down to the 128.30 zone area to the downside. Okay, well that's it for that market. Okay, next pillar to hold is AUD, and I'm on the 4-hour chart. Last week in price action, AUD at the end of the week tested the 70.20 zone area. And I marked this zone up slightly from 70.20 because of this recent price action here. And expecting more potential price continuation to the upside this week. Potentially all the way up to this previous high, or all the way up to this high, or potentially all the way up to the 73.35 zone area to the upside. So for all those people holding a buy trade on this market, potentially this market may continue at least up to this previous high, or all the way up to this high, or all the way up to the 73.35 zone area. And wanting to mention the 73.35 zone area as a potential long-term target area to the upside. However, if price does pull back and retest this recent low, what I'd like to highlight is that this is a great area on this market, on a retest of this important area, to look for bullish evidence in this area and a potential move the upside. Potentially move all the way up to this recent high, or all the way up to this high, or potentially look for a move all the way up to the 73.35 zone area to the upside. Okay, well that's it for that market. The next pair I'd like to cover is News and USD, and I'm on the daily chart. At the moment, News and USD is retesting the 65 zone area. This is the same zone that I held last week in the review as a potential bullish evidence area. And my bias hasn't changed on this market. This is a great area on this market to consider a potential bullish opportunity in this area and look for a potential move the upside. Potentially move all the way up to this recent high, or all the way up to the 66.94 zone area to the upside. So overall on this market, on the 65 zone area as a great area on this market to consider a potential bullish opportunity in this area and look for a potential move the upside from this important zone. Okay, well that's it for that market. The next pillar to cover is GBAD, and I'm on the daily chart. Last week in price action, GBAD's price broke below and closed below the 183.46 zone area. And now the market's done this, what I'd like to highlight is two important areas. The first area I'd like to highlight, now the market's broken below and closed below the 183.46 zone area, is highlighting this area as a potential pullback area. That if price pulls back and tests this area this week or in the near future, that this is an area on this market where I'm just looking for bearish evidence in this area. And if I see right bearish evidence in this area, like I go over in the Forex training on the website, then potentially looking for a move all the way down to the pullback low if the market pulls back from this area, or potentially a move all the way down to the 179.37 zone area to the downside. Now the 179.37 zone area is also another area on this market that I'd like to mention in this week's review. And in the case of this area, this is an area to the downside where I'm just looking for bullish evidence in this area if price tests this area this week or in the near future. And if I see a right bullish evidence in this area, then potentially looking for a move all the way up, all the way back up to the 183.46 zone area to the upside. Okay, well that's it for that market. The next pair to cover is New Zealand CAD, and I'm on the 1 hour chart on this market this week. What I'd like to hold on this market this week is a potential long-term target area to the upside for all those people holding a buy trade on this market from the recent test of the 85.16 zone area, which is a potential bullish evidence area on this market. And the long-term target area I'd like to highlight on this market is the 86.90 zone area to the upside. However, I also would like to mention on this market that if price pulls back and retests this recent low area within the 85.16 zone area, that this would once again be an area on this market, a great area on this market to look for bullish evidence and a potential with the upside potentially move all the way up long term to the 86.90 zone area, to the upside. Okay, well that's it for that market. The next pair I'd like to cover in this week's review is GBP CAD, and I'm on the daily chart. The zone I'd like to hold on GBP CAD this week is the 166.37 zone area. This is a great target area to the downside for all those people that are holding a sell trade on this market from the recent test of the 171.40 zone area. And it's also an area on this market to the downside where I'm just looking for bullish evidence in this area. And if I see a right bullish evidence in this area, then potentially looking for a move all the way up, all the way back up to the 171.40 zone area to the upside. So overall on GBP CAD, holding the 166.37 zone area as a potential target area to the downside for all those people holding a sell trade from the recent test of the 171.40 zone area, and also holding the 166.37 zone area as an area on this market where I'm just looking for bullish evidence in this area and a potential with the upside from this important zone. And if we look left at the 166.37 zone area, you can see it's an area that acted as really strong support on the previous test of this important area back here and back here in the past. Okay, well that's it for that market, and that's it for me for this week's edition of the review. Thanks for watching. If you appreciate this video today, please do not forget to click the like button to show your support. Every like is appreciated, and it's a great way of showing your support for the website and channel. If you have any questions or comments, comment below this video. Also, if you haven't checked out the new training series, which was released last week here at Forex Reviews, which is called the Zone Trader Training Series, just yet, where you can find out all about this Forex training by clicking on the link below this video. Okay, well I hope you all have a great trading week and happy trading.